Hello everyone, welcome back to CodeForce AI, where code meets intelligence. So in our last video, we built a complete weather app using Apex, LWC and integration. And if you haven't watched it, you can click the link above. So today we are taking a step ahead. We will dive into how to analyze, debug and optimize existing code so that your application runs smoothly and works efficiently, whether it's identifying bottlenecks, handling errors, or improving performance. So, in this session, I will give you practical insights to make your Salesforce solution production ready. So, let's dive in. So, let's open our cursor app. So, here you can see I have a existing class called Ultimate Disaster class. Because why I am saying it as an Ultimate Disaster class? Because it is having like all the possible errors that a Apex class can have. Either it is related to DML limits, or it is related to SOQL limits, or any redundant code, or any sort of issues. So let's analyze. So what I will say, I will select the class from here. So my class name is Ultimate Disaster class. Okay, so you can give the context from here. So now I will say analyze this class. So it is saying I will analyze the ultimate disaster class. Okay, so now you can see like what are the analysis cursor have done. Critical issues, infinite loop, line, even it is giving the line numbers also. So you can also track. So from line number 11 to 14. So if you see like while true and counter plus plus. So this is something will like go on. So it is a kind of infinite loop. So then it is saying this code is unreachable due to infinite loop. Then static initialization block issues, line 6 to 8. So here also like this is not something comes under best practices. Okay. So now if we check other issues, recursive stack overflow, null pointer exceptions. So if you go to line number 35 to 36, you see this. So that will be a null pointer exception because we even didn't initialized it. So and trying to get the name. Okay, then performance and governor limit issues. So it is not only just checking the code, it is also checking the code against the governor limit issues also. So you say SOQL in loops, line 18, 28. So if we go to line number 18, here is a query in the loop. Okay, so these are the things. Unnecessary DML operation, line number 21 to 23. Because what we are doing is we are updating this, and in the next line we are deleting this. So that is an unnecessary DML operation. Then this creates unnecessary database operations and potential data integrity issues. Code quality issue, unused static variables, because sometimes what happens, we initialize the variables and we forgot to delete them if they are not being used. So it is like analyzing those also. Method overloading confusion. So what this class demonstrates, this appears to be an educational example. Definitely, because we are checking it this class for what are the possible errors, govern limit violations, performance anti-patterns, code that would not, never pass code review, and multiple ways to crash an org. So you can see like if this kind of code is written, and definitely no one wants to write this kind of code, but there can be some pro developers among us. So they have written because lack of knowledge can be there or lack of guidance can be there. So if you ever found this kind of code, then also like cursor will help you a lot. So now what kind of recommendation it is giving? So if this were a real class that need fixing, remove the infinite loops, move SOQL queries outside of loops, batch DML operations, add proper error handling, use meaningful variable and method names, add proper documentation, implement proper unit tests. So what I will do, I will say, suppose like I just want to handle the SOQL query limit because we usually get like, suppose I got an issue of 101 and I don't want to touch the class completely because there can be chances that some of the features will not work, or I don't have that much of confidence, or like client is not allowing us to completely optimizing the class. So what I can say, fix SOQL issues only. So even it have its to do's. So if you see like what steps it is going to follow, it got all the line numbers where SOQL issues are there. So it will just try to get them outside the loop. So here now you can see. So I just said fix the SOQL issues. So it is not going to update any other issue like there was an like unnecessary DML was going on. So it is not going to fix those because I just said fix only the SOQL issues. It is not changing any variable names because variable names plays a vital role in our best code practices, because this is a very short code like just 100 lines. But what if this class is having 1000 lines and you are giving some random variable names? So a guy who will come on this existing project will not able to understand it at all. So now it is saying like, you see like it completed all the SOQL issues. So we can go over on one or two. So the previous code was like this. It was running a SOQL query inside this loop. So now it created one map with a better naming convention, and then created like populated that map and utilizing that map here. So the queries are not running inside the loop. So I will do definitely keep all because I need to keep these all the issue, and we'll try to deploy to see any errors are there or not while deploying the class. So it successfully deployed. So now what I will say, this was just an example to fix one short of issue. But suppose your clients agree that yeah, definitely there are a lot of issues coming due to this class and we want to optimize the class completely. So before optimizing the class, suppose I need to debug this start disaster method. Okay, and what we can do to debug a method, simply put the debug statements. So what we were doing previously was like going to this line and put system.debug and things like that. And now again I need to put like one here, one here, one here, and so many places manually. So what I can say, add debug statements in start method so that I can see how the method is running. I'm just putting that much information, but it's not required. Even if you put a debug statements in this method, it will work the same way. So my idea to show this thing is because sometimes we just need to put some debug statements, and to reduce that time also we can use this cursor AI, because manually putting on each line like will require a lot of time. Then you need to copy the variable names and the things. So it will put like the debug statements all over the methods where are the possible things can be. So it is running. Yeah. So, and if you ever want to see like what was happening in the background, why it took time or anything like that, you can just simply click here and see like what was the things it was doing. Otherwise it will give you complete summary also, like where it put. So you can see like it put a lot of debug statements, and suppose if you need to put them manually, like it would have took you like at least 10 minutes or so. And even like it is putting completely like complete good messages that it will help you in the debugging part. Okay, so this way you can put the debug statements and this will help you. Now come to the optimization part. Suppose your clients agree that we can fully optimize this class because this class is giving a lot of issues. So what I can say, optimize the class completely and follow all the best practices. So it started its thinking. So it's saying I will completely optimize this class. So what it will do? So you can see the to-dos. Remove infinite loops, fix static initialization block, add proper error handling and validation, implement proper method naming, add constant and configurations, implement proper bulkification, add proper logging and monitoring. So you can see like what a class should have. It will try to make this class now the complete optimization. So from worst to best. So you can see like how cursor can help us. So here you can see it already started writing the code for us. So once it's done with its processing, it will inject the code into our existing file. So right now if you see there are no method level comments, nothing like that, because again the comments also plays a vital role, because with the comments we can get the information like that what the method is going to do, what are the parameters, what kind of data we need to send into the parameters. So definitely we should always put the method level as well as the class level comments. Issues like CPU time limit, or sometimes you can have the heap size issue. So it can identify those kind of issues also. I have like used this into one of my existing project, and that like helped me a lot, because otherwise it would have taken like 2 days or 3 days to identify and fix the issue. But with the help of cursor, I was like able to do it in not more than 10 minutes. So this is how like cursor helping us to like save our time and put our like time into some productive things. So now you can see it's completed its process, and we'll see like it it deleted almost the whole code because it was completely disaster class. So now we will see like we will do a key poll, then we'll check like it was 100 line, it created almost 300 line. But why it is created? Because it is required. It put all the necessary comments on every method, even on the class, like what can optimize account and contact management utility class, who is the author, what is the version, then created all the static variables because we need them in the code. So instead of putting everywhere, like let's just create the static variables, created exception class, then method level comments, line level comments, better error handling, and everything. Now the naming convention, if you see anywhere, like there is no like u or c or like that random variable names. So everything looks, no SOQL queries inside the loop, no DMLs inside the loop, no infinite loops in the code. So now this is the better. So if we go through the summary also, so now the summary, what summary says, I've completely transformed the class from problematic anti-pattern example into a production ready, well structured utility class. So infinite loops removed, uncontrolled recursion removed, static initialization block removed, null pointer exceptions removed. Best practices has been like, so what are the best practices it have used? Class level documentation, method level documentation, clear method names, versions, configuration and constants, bulk SOQL, bulk DML, efficient data structure, batch processing, error handling and validation, logging and monitoring wherever required. Like it put onto some places. Like previously we asked it to put, then it put a lot of debug statement because we need to debug that method completely. But now it is putting a very less debug statements. And even if you don't require the debug statements, you can say, like suppose now you know like the class is working fine and you are like done with debugging and everything, and you don't need to go line to line to remove the debug statements. You just say remove all the debug statements which are not necessary, not required. So sometimes like it, this type of error can come because there can be a request issue, connection issue, so you can retry. And the more you use the cursor, the more optimized it will be, because definitely it is also learning either from your code or from internet or from any source. But like the more you include cursor into your project, it will try to understand your requirement, it will try to like learn from your context. So it will create, like suppose you now created a new class, so it will try to keep in mind like what were the errors in the previous context. So it will learn from there also, and it will try to create the class or like any component accordingly. So now if you see, like it removed all the unnecessary components, but it didn't remove the like the debug statements from cache blocks, because that might be necessarily required in production as well. Sometimes like suppose a issue is coming up and then you can't edit the class, so instead of like adding the statements and deploying to the class again into the production, it's better to like have the debug statements in at least catch blocks. So that is also a best practice, not a error or something comes against optimization. Okay, so I will do keep. So now we have 272 lines, but because it is having like comments and everything, that's why we are having a lot of lines. Now we will try to deploy and see if there is any deployment errors in it. So there are no deployments error, and we are having from worst to best apex class. So this way you can use cursor in like either aura components, lightning web components, integration. So it will save you a lot of time in debugging and optimizing the code. So that's it for now. See you in next video. Thank you. And if you like my content, don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. And also put your comments on what you want the next video to be on. So thank you so much.